Good evening, everyone. I'd ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Dewey.
Here.
Councilmember Givens.
Here.
Councilmember Litzo. Here. Councilmember Sears.
Here.
Councilmember Wertz. Here. Councilmember Zimmer.
Here. Thank you, and we will move right on to public comments.
The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council, to the chief administrative officer or city clerk if action is needed.
Thank you.
Mayor and council, there are a few requests this evening. The first one is from Jennifer Forgy.
I thought it'd be easier not following Green Tree, but make it easy. Good evening, Mayor, members of the board.
Hey,
Mr.
Jan,
Hall.
can you put that mic right in front of you so the people who are streaming?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you hear it better?
Yep.
Okay. Unlike most nights, I stand here tonight. I'm not here to bring any numbers. Usually I bring numbers to you. Tonight, I'm here to ask you to make a motion to bring Bill 11005 back to the floor for reconsideration and vote yes for loggers. I think Mr. Hawes has done a very thorough job collecting and presenting the financial impact loggers would have on the city, along with my fellow colleagues who have spoken at previous work sessions and council meetings, and even Councilmember Wertz, who provided the very important information about how it would affect the bottom line of the budget. Tonight, I'm here more on a personal note. I've been with the city for a little over 5 years. Unlike a lot of the colleagues that I have, the majority of my career was spent in the private sector. In the corporate world, I learned very early on that employees aren't necessarily valued and are treated as just a number. It's a very callous approach when employees are really the company's most valuable asset. 6 years ago, I decided to make a change. I wanted to be not just a number. My mom retired from Lake St. Louis. She had loggers. She has that comfort of not having to worry after she's retired. Since most of my adult life wasn't here in Missouri, I just assumed that every municipality in this area carried loggers. Sorry, I'm losing my spot. To me, it seemed like a normal benefit to offer a public employee who has chosen to work in the public service at a lower wage than what they could in the private sector. So I'll admit, I was naive. I didn't even pay attention when I got here. By the time I noticed it, I liked the people, I liked the work. Now it's a little bit different. As you get older, you think about these things. With my current position, I have the privilege to not only work with every department, but to work with staff at every levels within those departments. It's really one of my most favorite things about this job. If you don't already know, I just want to tell you that the city of Kirkwood has amazing employees. Employees who are needed for the city to be successful. Employees that are above and beyond, above and beyond what the citizens of, go above and beyond for the citizens of Kirkwood. Providing this level of service has raised the bar of expectations the citizens have in Kirkwood. Multiple managers have already expressed to you their concern in recruiting, and the effect loggers has on that. So I'm not going to go into that. What I want to touch on is the great employees you are going to lose if the city chooses not to provide loggers. The generation before me were very loyal to their employers. My dad spent most of his career with the same employer. Times have changed. Employees are loyal to themselves, as they should be. With this shift, it's up to employers to provide benefits to keep employees. Councilmember Gibbons, you mentioned that you asked citizens what they thought about the topic of loggers. The citizens that I've spoken with about this subject tell me that they voted loggers down. I wasn't here at that time, but my understanding is not that they voted loggers down, but just that they voted against the charter to make a change so that council could do what they needed to do with the pension for police and fire. My concern is that if the citizens don't truly know what they voted for, are they going to understand that when the city can't recruit and retain quality employees, it is going to negatively affect the quality of service they have become accustomed to in Kirkwood? Councilmember Lutzo, you mentioned your concern was that employees would lose money if they didn't stay 5 years. With our current plan, employees do not receive city contributions if they don't stay 5 years. Nothing would change in that regard. And it's actually in the city's best interest to have that 5-year vesting period. There's no reason that the city should be paying out employees that aren't loyal and don't want to stay if they want to leave after a year. The problem now is that employees are upset about not having loggers. So they just do their 5 years and they go. The city of Kirkwood is starting to feel like a training base for other municipalities. I think the city of Kirkwood employees deserve to have the financial security of loggers when they retire, especially when the cost of the city to offer loggers is substantially lower than what we're paying out for workers' comp claims because employees are unable to retire at a reasonable age. As much as I want my colleagues to have loggers, the loggers vote 2 weeks ago really wasn't about loggers for me. I came to that city meeting to witness the vote because I needed to see if I am working for an employer who values its employees. It's exhausting that we have to fight this hard for one benefit that nearly every municipality in the state offers to their employees. I'm here to see by action if me and the amazing employees I work with are just a number to Kirkwood City Council. Thank you.
Georgia Ragland.
Georgia Ragland, 1811 Enola Court. I can't begin to express the disappointment I feel with the 4 council members who voted last time to deny the civilian employees access to loggers. I'm especially disappointed in the council member who told employees they fully supported loggers and then voted against it. Last time, one of the reasons Nancy gave for being against loggers was that loggers.
Georgia, we're not going to get personal. Just keep to your statement. And I don't want things being personal.
Go ahead and read it. That employees left before becoming vested, they would forfeit the city's contribution. This is an identical provision to the current vesting provision the cities has. With, as Molly indicated, employee turnover being 3 times what it was a few years ago, clearly employees are weighing the alternatives and are willing to forfeit that money in favor of better opportunities. Also, 3 council members who are not pension experts meeting in secret without staff participation with an insurance salesman should not be touted as a silver bullet for fixing the pension problem. Since the majority of council declined to address the pension problems and move city employees to loggers, let's see if you're willing to fix the compensation problem. We have to make employment with Kirkwood somehow more attractive. When I started with Kirkwood in 1998, the council worked with Buck Consultants on a compensation and benefits study and made a commitment to employees to pay at the 75th percentile of our comparator group. Of course, councils can't bind future councils. And when Jerry and Gina joined the council, they persuaded the council that it was okay to pay at the 60th percentile. If the HR department's going to be hampered in their recruitment efforts by not being able to offer loggers, then they have to be able to offer applicants something to make Kirkwood more attractive than the other municipal employers in our area. There's only so long that good employees are willing to be hanging on there now that the possibilities of loggers is no longer an option. Pay has slipped well below the 60th percentile. People's grocery bills are twice what they were pre-COVID. And the average new car payment in this country, according to a recent news article, is now $736 a month. If Kirkwood truly is an exceptional place to live, work, and play, then pay employees like it is. Return to the 75th percentile. Remember, you get what you pay for.
Chris Beckman.
Mayor, council. Chris Beckman, I'm a police officer with the police department and the president of the Police Officer Association. I was hoping I didn't have to come here and do this because I don't believe in airing dirty laundry in public, but events of last meeting kind of forced my hand.
Hey, Chris, would you lift up the microphone? Thank you.
Is this better? Okay. I understand last meeting, the mayor stated that loggers was a vote that didn't affect the police department or the fire department, well, directly. Well, I've been in this fight for the to fix the pension for 8 years now. I've been at the forefront and I think I've earned the right to speak in support of the civilians. 7 years ago, Mayor Griffin stood here at this very podium and addressed a council chamber full of citizens and civilians or employees. He told them Kirkwood has a deficient pension. It's been deficient for a while. It needs to be fixed. You said at the time, loggers, what the council was looking at, and you introduced the gentleman from loggers and he put on his presentation. As we all know, that proposition to change the charter failed. It failed due in part to misinformation, but it failed nonetheless. But we'll talk about that later. Now, council, you had an opportunity last meeting to rectify the civilians' deficient pension. In a vote of 4-3, not in favor, you turned it down. Now, I'd like to thank the 3 members that did vote yes. Thank you for your support. What I'd like to address now are the 4 members that did not vote yes. I'm not going to call them out by name. I know you don't appreciate that. So the first no vote was extremely upset at the reason you voted no, not at the fact that you voted no. Everybody has their own opinion. Sorry, I had to rewrite this, so I'm kind of lost here. No, I take that back. The first no vote I'm extremely upset with. This council member, prior to his running for council, reached out to Lieutenant Connors and myself. Lieutenant Connors was then the president of the association. I was the vice president. He had found out that we were endorsing Councilman Ward for council, and he asked for our endorsement. We sat down and we talked. We said our main concern was we need to fix the pension. He told us he was 100% behind loggers. He would support it. He would do everything he could to get us loggers. Last week or last meeting, this council member voted no. I don't know what that no vote's going to do, the effect it's going to have on the employees down the road, but I will tell you the effect it had on the association. We now have an amendment that we signed into order that we will no longer support or endorse a political candidate. That's the effect it had on the association. The second no, I'm not upset that you voted no, but I'm a little upset with the reason for voting no. The reason given was we need to look into other options. We've been doing this for 8 years. 8 years. How many more options? What have you been doing for 8 years? It appears to us nothing. It appears that you haven't been doing anything. What that no vote said to us and all the employees is that we really don't matter. There's no rush to fix, and apparently the council members that voted no are okay with us having a deficient pension. Another reason that this particular member mentioned was that the citizens voted down loggers, but we'll circle back to that in a minute. The next no vote, again, I wasn't upset so much as with the no vote as I was with the reason for the vote. This particular member said she was concerned with some new employees who would lose city money if they left before they were fully vested. Well, that's this current pension. If you leave before 5 years and you're fully vested, you lose money. That is a risk any employee who changes jobs or starts a new job has to take on. I don't know any pension around that doesn't have a vesting period. You also mentioned unanswered questions. You council members had two work sessions earlier this year. The first one, you addressed all the questions that you had about loggers, and you gave them to Mr. Hawes. And Mr. Hawes was tasked with getting the answers for all those questions. And if I'm not mistaken, this particular council member had 7 pages of questions. We had a second meeting where Mr. Hawes was going to answer all those questions that you all had. And if I was an independent person sitting in that meeting, having listened to all the answers that Mr. Hawes gave, I would have said this is not only loggers is not only great for the employees, but it's great for the city. Yeah. The fact that the council member still has questions makes me believe that they're actually looking for an answer to defend the no. I mean, I don't know how many more questions can be asked. The last vote, again, I'm not upset. This council member has been very honest with me from the start. She told me she was against loggers. I wish I could have changed her mind, but I respect her decision and I respect her honesty. The thing I'm upset about is a couple of council members have used the fact that the citizens voted down loggers as a reason to vote no. They did not vote down loggers. The vote was to change the pension, to give us an option to move to another pension that wasn't deficient. Loggers just happened to be what you guys were looking at the time. They did not vote down loggers. And it's frustrating to hear that the leaders of this city keep using the misinformation that we've talked about, part of the reason that whole proposition failed as a reason to vote no. I've heard a number of your council members say you've spoken with numbers of citizens that are against loggers. What I haven't heard you say is I've spoken with a number of employees, the ones who this really matters to. I've heard a number of your council members say at one time or another that they realize the pension needs to be fixed. It's been 8 years and 4 members are still talking about fixing it. During that time, the vast majority of these employees have remained loyal to you and the citizens of Kirkwood with the hope that all this talk of fixing the pension would eventually lead to something being actually done to fix it. Well, the time is now. 3 members of the board have said, yes, loggers is the fix the civilians need. For the 4 of you that voted no, I implore you to reconsider and vote yes to the civilians moving to loggers. It's time to show the employees that have remained loyal all this time that their loyalty wasn't in vain.
Tamara Pelkey.
Good evening. I'm not comfortable speaking in front of people, so I apologize if I stutter. Really, I just want to ask you to please reconsider your no vote for all the reasons you've been given. Since the last meeting, I'm sure you have received many emails from employees asking. I know I have sent numerous emails, some thanking the members that are in support of loggers and questioning the members that voted no for loggers as to your reasons, just like have been presented. I've been here, it'll be 26 years in November. I've got another 15 years to work. I don't want to have to go somewhere else and start over. However, there is no, we as employees, and we have lots of people here from different departments. You've got recreation, water, public services, building, courts, police, finance, MIS, administration, HR, even retired employees here asking you to please, please vote yes for loggers. We want a secure retirement in a world that's very undetermined for our outcomes in life. That's it. Thank you.
Chris Kruger.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Chris Kruger. I'm the Public Services Director for the City of Kirkwood. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of myself and of the many employees that I supervise that are 100% in support of loggers. I respectively request that a motion for the adoption of loggers be reconsidered tonight. I oversee the engineering, streets, sanitation, and water departments. I can confidently stand up here tonight and say all of these departments are in full support for loggers. It was reported to me when this was first voted on, there was dissent amongst employees, which also reflected in the vote of the residents. Times have changed. COVID happened. We are now Team Kirkwood. Employees stand united behind loggers as the defined benefit package that civilian employees desire and are willing to pay more into this program. As there's also an increased contribution for the employee, not only for the city. As our HR manager stated last city council meeting, our recruitment is suffering. I have experienced this firsthand in the engineering department. I have made 4 offers to assistant city engineer candidates, 2 of which received other offers that offer more flexibility, such as work from home policies, of which the city can't commit to and provide the level of service to residents. But 2 of them specifically referred to the city not having loggers as their reason to turn down the position just days before they had a scheduled start date. The city of Kirkwood is a desired place to live in the St. Louis area. The number of single-family home builds, additions remains high and is not lightening the workload on city staff. Specifically in the engineering department, more and more stormwater BMPs are getting reviewed, installed, and inspected. City staff is asked to do more with less, but when benefits such as loggers that would recruit and retain talented and professional employees is turned down, I'm faced with disappointed employees with a harsh reality that they don't have a guaranteed retirement plan, which other municipalities offer and they can go to. As you know, the city has been very successful in securing grant projects to fund street projects over the last 4 years. In the upcoming year, we're projected to invest $15 million worth of infrastructure investment, such as Guyer Road, Essex, Longview, Lindeman, and the train station. Actually, 2 of these projects are on the agenda for tonight's meeting. The employees of Kirkwood make these projects a success. Without employees that are dedicated and are professional and talented, these projects are not, would not be possible. While I can say that the civilian staff is 100% in favor of loggers, I can't say I can recruit sufficient staff to manage all of these projects. Without sufficient staff, there will be increased costs to the city to hire consultants to run these projects. Without Kirkwood employees, our residents would be left to other public services utilities that don't compare to our level of service, to fix water main breaks, to restore power after a storm, or go back on a route to pick up misses for sanitation service. The city of Kirkwood has supported these street projects and utilities, and I respectfully tonight ask that you make a motion to reconsider the adoption of loggers and invest in the employees of the city of Kirkwood that truly make Kirkwood a great place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Jonathan Raish.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Raish, and I'm the Planning and Development Services Director for the City of Kirkwood. I'm here tonight to respectfully make a request specifically to council members Dewey, Gibbons, Litzo, and Zimmer. As the 4 members who voted 2 weeks ago in opposition to allowing our civilian employees to go to loggers, you have the unique ability tonight to make a motion to reconsider this matter to provide an opportunity for at least one of you to join the mayor and council member Sears and Wirtz to vote in favor of civilian employees joining loggers. And by doing so, voting in favor of continuing the excellent services that our employees provide to you and all Kirkwood residents and business owners each day. I know each of you take this decision very seriously and have dedicated a great deal of time and effort into making an informed decision, and we thank you for your dedication. It's important for you to know that according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 86% of state and local government workers in the nation have access to a defined benefit plan. As we've stated before, we are one of 4 communities in the state that do not have access to a defined benefit plan. I'd like you to ask yourselves tonight if it would be acceptable for us to strive to be in the bottom 14% of municipal services that we provide to our residents. How would you feel if Kirkwood was ranked as one of the 4 worst communities to live in the state of Missouri? This is the way you should be viewing these statistics. Retirement benefits are one of the most crucial pieces of recruiting and retaining workers, and our current system places us in the bottom 4 communities in the state. As for financial risk, I also want to make sure you remember that loggers continuously ranks in the top 10% of public pension plans nationwide when it comes to level of funding within the plan. Loggers is currently 96% pre-funded, while the average funding ratio is 77%, and the industry standard for a healthy plan is 80%. They're 96% funded. These facts, in addition to the safeguards of a maximum 1% annual increase and a 5-year smoothing of increases, should give you comfort that the future financial risk for the city is minimal. While this proposal only deals with civilian employees, it's important to know that civilian employees have been supported both by police and fire departments throughout this process. They understand how much civilian employees want this and how much the organization will benefit from investing in its civilian employees by joining loggers. I'd like to thank the police and fire departments for their support throughout this process. I stand before you tonight with my fellow colleagues and public servants to implore you to reconsider Bill 11005 so that we can continue to have the human resources we need as an organization that is viewed as a desirable place to live, work, and play. Thank you for your time.
Andy Huber.
Ladies and gentlemen and City Council, my name is Andy Huber, 322 Danworth Court, GIS technician here at the city as well. I stand before you today to address the critical issue that pertains to not only the well-being of our city's workforce, but also the overall prosperity and efficiency of your municipality. I would like to dispel the myth that the pension plan, particularly loggers, is detrimental to a government and its citizens. On the contrary, these plans are essential for the long-term health and sustainability of our city. Let us recognize that the employees of this city are the backbone of its operations. It is imperative that we acknowledge the sacrifices and dedication they bring to their work every day. A defined benefit plan like loggers is a concrete way of showing appreciation for their service and ensuring they have financial security in their retirement years. Now, contrary to what some may claim, these pension plans are not a burden, but an investment in a better future. By providing your employees with a stable and predictable retirement income, you're enabling them to focus on their work without constantly worrying about their financial well-being in the later stages of life. And this in turn promotes a dedicated and loyal and productive workforce. It reduces employee turnover, attracts talent, and ultimately benefits the city as a whole. Now let's address the economic myths that circulate about defined pension plans. Some argue that these plans place an undue burden on the city's budget. In reality, pensions costs are predictable and consistent, which allows for more efficient budget planning. Moreover, these plans provide substantial benefits for employees at a relative low administrative cost, and especially when compared to the alternative defined contribution plans, which often have higher fees and place the risk of investment on the individual and not the employer. I implore you to consider the long-term benefits of supporting your workforce through these pension plans, recognizing that the myth that they are detrimental to a government and its citizens is just that, a myth. So let's make the right choice for the employees, the city, and the future. And I'll leave you with a quote from Upton Sinclair. It is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it. But do not allow politics to obscure the realization that virtually every other municipality has successfully attained. Thanks.
Mayor and council, there are no additional requests for comment at this time.
Thank you, David. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
A second? Okay, we got a motion, second. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Say no. Motion passes. We'll move on to unfinished business. And there has been obviously the last couple of weeks requests and even tonight for reconsideration of the bill. Any bill can be reconsidered in the next meeting. It has to happen in the next meeting. And what has to happen is someone who voted in the majority has to bring the motion to reconsider, and going to unfinished business is where that happens. So at this time, I'll just ask if any of the four members who voted in the majority have a motion to reconsider the bill. All right, seeing none, then we will move on to Bill 11002.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance amending the provisions of the Municipal Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Industrial Development Authority regarding requirements for directors.
Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey.
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo.
Yes.
Councilmember Sears.
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz.
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Bill passes. Bill 11003.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance appropriating $27,714 from the Equitable Sharing Fund balance to the Police Department rolling stock account, accepting the bid of Polaris Sales Incorporated in the amount of $27,713.64 pursuant to a Sourcewell cooperative contract for the purchase of a Polaris Ranger Crew XP 1000 for the police department, and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey.
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo.
Yes.
Councilmember Sears.
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz.
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Bill passes. Bill 11004.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Transportation Enhancement Funds Program Agreement for the TAP 5502-616 Grants Trail Extension Phase 1 project.
Questions or comments? Councilmember Gibbons?
Well, very excited about Grants Trail extension. And there's a new round coming up November 3rd, with the application due on February 8th. And not too long ago, because we've been so successful, we are not going to be going after some grants because of the 20% that the city would have to pay. Are we still in that realm of?
We evaluate before we apply for any grant, and any grant would have to be approved by city council to apply for. The STPS program, which is coming up February 8th for application, will be brought to city council. We have identified that we may be able to slot in this particular application because of the dates at which it would be going into effect in fiscal year 27-28. Would be in an area where we may have completed some of the other projects, so we can most likely slot that in, but that has to go through an analysis and ultimately be approved by council.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Bill passes. Go to new business, Bill 11006.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance appropriating $25,000 from the equitable sharing fund balance to the police department training account for training for the police department.
Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor of first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Say no. Bill passes first reading. Bill 11007.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance appropriating $63,100 from the equitable sharing fund balance to the police department professional services account for the police department.
Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
Have a second? Second. Motion is second. Questions or comments? Councilmember Gibbons?
Well, this and the last bill, I just want to say that what the incident that happened on Sunday up at North Middle School, all I heard was just how incredible the police were, that they were there within 2 minutes. Everyone was saying that. And I think these two, you know, if we can continue to do trainings and offer great equipment, it's a good thing. So.
Anything else? All right, all in favor of first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Bill passes first reading. Resolution 114, 2023.
Mayor and council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Fletcher Reinhardt in the amount of $36,980.52 for the purchase of 6 potential transformers for the Sugar Creek substation, the electric department, and authorizing and directing the director of procurement to issue a purchase order.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 115, 2023.
Mayor and council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Electro-Rep Energy Products in the amount of $27,000 for the purchase of outdoor 38 kV, 1200 amp manually operated disconnect switches and accessories for the Sugar Creek substation, the electric department, and authorizing and directing the director of procurement to issue a purchase order.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 116, 2023.
Mayor and council, this is a resolution accepting the single source proposal of Avail Switchgear Systems in the amount of $23,700 for a total not to exceed amount of $1,795,845 for additional switchgear terminal blocks and test switches for the Sugar Creek substation for the electric department, and authorizing and directing the director of procurement to issue an amended purchase order.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I have
Just one comment. When I first read the resolution title, I'm like, okay, 23,700 for a not to exceed amount of 1.795 million. But to clarify, this is an additional to a previously approved contract.
Yeah, that's correct.
Correct.
It raises it to 1.7
Raises it
million
23.
by 23.7.
Right.
So that's why the other two companies weren't even put on
Right,
here.
it's,
Okay.
it's just amending what we've already,
Okay.
it's already been approved.
And the original price is on the background on the memo.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 117, 2023.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the proposal of Schaefer Electric Company at the rates provided in the bid tab sheet, a copy of which is attached hereto and incorporated by reference herein for electrical services and support for the city of Kirkwood on an as-needed basis for an initial term of 12 months with the option to renew for up to 4 additional 12-month terms, pending budgetary approval, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
So move.
Your second?
Second.
A motion is second. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Gibbons.
Well, I was over on Longview today, meeting with a resident of 323 Greenleaf. Apparently, initially, there was going to be a speed bump put in at the, right by his property, and now there's a curb. Is that something that can be relooked at?
This, yeah, this is the wrong, this is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
117, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
We'll be glad to answer that question upcoming.
okay, thank you.
Sorry. No, it's all right. Okay. Any questions on 117? All
No.
right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes. Resolution 118, 2023.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Jokerst Paving in the amount of not to exceed $969,338.35, which includes a contingency of $125,000 for the Longview Boulevard Improvements Project for the Engineering Department, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Like what? Nice try.
Councilmember Gibbons. Do you know?
Well,
the
I kind of
question?
explained it
Yeah,
already.
Okay. I may call Chris up because he's more familiar with the intricacies of that project than I am.
Can you repeat your question, please?
Well, we did chat about it 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever, but today I went over there and saw where he was talking about in the sewer and everything for 323 Greenleaf. And that this originally was going to be a speed bump. And then the plan switched and it became a 4-inch curb. And he feels that there's going to be, because all the water comes down from the west and also from the south, that it's going to end up pooling in front of, even though there's a area that's been left. So anyway, can the speed bump be put back instead of this 4-inch curb?
I don't recall any speed bump to be put there. It's always been and if I recall correctly, this is at the intersection of Greenleaf and Longview.
Correct, yes.
And so it's always been a new lane configuration to channelize traffic in a more safe way to slow
Mhm.
down traffic. So there's never been a speed bump there that I'm aware of.
Was there something that wasn't a 4-inch curb?
There was a channelized island. And there was a through lane and a right turn lane was shown in our first public meeting. and then we changed that to only one lane going just to the south. And that we concluded that would be the most safe option as far as slowing down traffic. And then the latest design has a island that is a curbed island with grass in the island.
Mm-hmm. So the thing that was shown first, and I don't know the terminology, so I may be, saying the wrong thing. But the thing that was shown first, was it not a curb, not a 4-inch curb?
It was probably I would refer to as a mountable curve, so it allows
Mountable
traffic to
curve.
go on top
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can that be put back?
We can consider that, instead of a raised, like 6-inch tall curb. And then, so just so I understand, it would be a mountable curve so that people could still drive over it. And then it would be entirely concrete. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so. But would it be as wide as what this is showing now?
Yes. If we decrease it anymore, it decreases the slowing down of traffic.
Yeah, no, I
And
didn't mean from curb out into the street. I meant from street to street side. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, I'm not following you.
Let me stop. Chris, is this what the engineers and you think we should do? The way it is right now?
The way it is right now, that is what we should be doing.
Yeah, continue. I mean, it's gonna be the entire council would have to ask him to do that, and so. A motion, we can do that. We'll see how the council votes.
Well, I guess on behalf of the person that asked me to come take my time today and go over and work with them, I'll make a motion and ask that become what it originally was a
Mountable island.
mountable island.
All right, is there a second to that motion? All right, motion fails for lack of a second.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, anything else on this bill? Okay, thank you, Chris. Roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 119, 2023.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution amending the contract with Crawford, Murray and Tilley Incorporated by increasing the amount by $169,642.76, which includes a contingency of $10,000 for a total not to exceed amount of $389,424.76 for construction engineering services for the STP 5502-609 Geyer Road Resurfacing Phase 2 project, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an amended contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Good. Motion is second. Any questions or comments on it? Councilmember Gibbons?
Well, on the 4th page of our packet, it says that the total is 359,000. And I know there was 10,000 contingency, but I just didn't understand how the 389.
Chris, do you want to?
Sorry, Chris.
I don't have that information in front of me. But
It's a supplemental agreement number 1 to engineer services contract. Is the title on the page.
Mhm.
So if you add 169 to the original contract, 219. That comes to 389, doesn't it? That what we're going through?
I'm not sure. For
I-
here.
Ignore the $10,000 aspect of it entirely, because that's in the 169.
Okay,
You're not adding that 10.
yeah. Okay, so it's, I don't know, it's three
just the sum of the
fifty-nine
two.
over on. In the bill, it's 389.
Well, with the 10,000, it is 389.
That's a, wait, so contract
There's
seal is not
190.
the same.
If there's a scrivener's error, we'll adjust that, but I think the number is supposed to be 389, and that's what's in the
Yeah,
Yeah,
proposal.
the total
Plus
may be
gas is-
misstated by 30,000.
Okay, so this is not added up correctly on this sheet, maybe. Saying 199.
For me to be mathing.
Russ, do you see the page?
This one's.
I don't have the.
Looking at it.
packet in front of
I
me
just
right
heard
now.
the chief administrative officer say that 389, 424.76 is the correct,
Correct amount.
and that is what we are voting on. So whether in some
Mhm.
supporting document, I mean, I think that clarifies the question. That the supporting document, if it's different from that, it's not what we're voting on.
That's correct.
All right, any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 120, 2023.
Mayor and council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Ranieri Construction in the not to exceed amount of $1,902,721.27, which includes a contingency of $172,974.66 for the federal project STP 5502-609 Guyer Road Phase 2 project, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 121, 2023.
Mayor and council, this is a resolution accepting the proposal of ETC Institute in the amount not to exceed of $21,500 for a single City of Kirkwood community survey, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
So
Motion.
moved.
I got a motion and a second. Questions or comments? I'm going to ask one first. Will the process be the same as in the past? We engage them and questions are then, put together and then brought to council? Is that?
Yes, that would be the intent. We actually would have 2 or 3 questions that are the additional questions beyond those which are trend questions. In other words, you want to make sure those questions are all the same, but you can have some additional questions. And those are the ones that we bring to council to try to determine what you're looking for there.
I saw a hand, Councilmember Litzel.
Yeah, I basically had the same question. Where was it going to be, primarily the same basic questions so that we can track
Yes.
how things are going over time? And so, I mean, you
Mhm.
more or less already answered my question.
No problem.
Did you
But-
say we have the same question?
No.
That's
No, I
bizarre.
didn't say that. And whatever the tape says,
But you
it's
did.
wrong. But I appreciate, learning that this is gonna take place because I think it's important to get feedback from the citizens as well as make sure that the questions are properly framed. So I look forward to this.
I see another hand over here. Okay, all right. Seeing nothing further, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 122, 2023.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution determining the intent of the city of Kirkwood, Missouri to reimburse itself for certain capital expenditures with the proceeds of city's certificates of participation and engaging the services of WM Financial Strategies as municipal advisor and Gilmore and Bell PC as special tax counsel in connection with the delivery thereof.
Is there a motion for approval?
So move.
For a second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Before we go to comments or questions, Russ, do you want to give an overview of what is actually happening here?
Absolutely. The city obviously has been publicly reported that we are in the process of acquiring property for the relocation of our Public Works Department. The funding for that would come through certificates of participation that would be issued through a bond issuance. WM Financial has been the city's advisor for many, many years, and they've done an excellent job on behalf of the city in shepherding this process and working with Gilmore and Bell as bond counsel and with our own legal counsel here to ensure that these are issued in a most expeditious and efficient manner and beneficial manner to the city. Through this process, we identified additional projects that are in our capital improvement program that lend themselves well to a debt offering of this nature. These projects include a new ladder truck at approximately $2 million that is in our current capital improvement program. A few years down the road, we can move that up. It has a 1-year procurement timeframe before it's delivered anyway, so it lends itself well to that and the timing. Also, the city has identified immediate need with pump station number 1, which is a primary pump station on the west side of Kirkwood near the park. That is a $3.75 million cost, a capital cost that would be borne through a debt offering included in this these certificates of participation. And also, the city has identified a need to really replace its ice rink entirely with the chiller, floor replacement, circulation replacement for the ice rink, and also supporting funds for the community center project with approximately $6 million collectively for those improvements as well, all of which are in the capital program. Other than the floor replacement itself, the floor replacement was not in the capital improvement program because the capital improvement program cash flow could not support that additional cost in the time frame that we had identified. So here is an opportunity to take care of the need entirely all at once at the ice rink. So you get the chiller, the floor replacement, the dasher boards in one construction project. So you don't have to take another bite at the apple 2 to 3 years down the road if you just replace the chiller, which was in the capital improvement program. If you do the chiller, the floor replacement, and the circulatory system, you've got it all done at once. And it's appropriate to do this as a bond issuance. It's a very long-term project. The life expectancy of this equipment is 25 to 30 years. So it lends itself well to a debt offering.
Thank you. Questions or comments from council? Councilmember Gibbons.
Well, I wondered if, could somebody talk about the advantages of doing this tied with like kind of a point by point tied with the Murray's?
We have our WM Strategies professional, Joy Howard, here. If you don't mind, Joy, maybe. I think she's saying, why would we want to lump all of this at once?
Oh, okay, as opposed to doing separate financings?
Mm-hmm.
Every time you do a financing, you incur costs of issuance, like rating fees, my fees, bond counsel, and there's some other fees too. So by doing it all at once, you only incur those costs one time.
And approximately how much are those costs?
This is the really rough estimate.
Okay.
But in total, around 158,000.
And is there any penalty for early payoff?
Yes, there would be. Well, there's not exactly a penalty. In today's market, typically municipal financings, whether it's bonds or certificates, aren't callable for at least 8 to 10 years. The market prefers 10 years. So during that time period, you would not be able to refinance, but there are mechanisms that you could use to pay off the debt if you wanted to.
And what kind of percentage are we looking at?
The average rate is going to be, the market is changing rapidly. So I'm just going to give you a generalized rate, something between, on the average, between 4 to 5%. And that may seem high, and relative to where the market's been in the last 2 years, that's high. But on a historical basis, it's actually very low if you look at like the last 30 years. You just all got overly used to the super low interest rates. I send the city a rate graph every week. It goes to Russ and it goes to Sandy. And you might, the one that's the long-term graph, you might want to just share that with the council, just send it out to them. So that you can see from this one rate graph that market, like I said, even though the rates seem high on a historical basis, they're very low.
Any other questions for Joy while she's up here? Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the resolution? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo. Yes. Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Resolution passes. City council reports. All right. Good. Councilmember
Just wanted to
Zimmer.
mention tomorrow, several of us will be going to the Shepherd Center of Kirkwood Webster to celebrate their 25th anniversary.
Thank you for doing that, everyone who's going. Chief Administrative Officer report,
I have nothing at this time, Mayor.
City Attorney report, City Clerk report.
Yes, Your Honor, I will report on the scheduled upcoming public hearings. We have a public hearing scheduled for November 2nd, 2023, which is for a request for a special use permit for an indoor amusement facility, Little's Loft Play Cafe at 117 West Argonne. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Next meeting of the City Council is on November 2nd at 7 PM. This